initially I thought I would crochet something, but I'm like, I don't have time for that. Because I was thinking, I can totally crochet the cloak and be like, yeah, this is my cloak. It's going to be amazing, and I can wear it all the time. And then I'm like, that's going to take like 1,000 hours, and that's all I'm going to do for the next week. So there's another idea that came to my mind but there was this definite decision of my mandala has to be three-dimensional. It needed to pop out in some expansive form. And so the other idea I had was to get lanterns and put lights inside of the lanterns. Because that was the other thing that had to be part of it, was the lights inside. Just because I feel like that's truly what we're doing with this process, is exploring the light inside of ourselves and then pulling that out and sharing it with everybody around us. In this first one, I worked on the smallest one first. And this one I kind of feel honors the experience that I had in class and in the readings. So it's got my little pyramid on there. And this red and orange line symbolizes that energetic reaching towards heaven and towards the divine. And then I've got my golden triangle on here as well, because that was a very impactful mandala for me, because at times I find difficulty integrating things in my life, and so taking the time to integrate these things that are seemingly oppositional are very not able to kind of coalesce into one thing, and then having them come out to be this like gramophone that totally is like, it's going out, it's public, it's very vocal, very not hidden, and that was significant for me, because I don't want to be kind of a wallflower, somebody who just stands off the sides. I don't want to be somebody who, strives after fame either, but I want to be somebody who's remembered and who makes an impact in people's lives. So I worked on the large one second, and it's got the cloak on it, and I changed it a little bit so that it's so that it looks more like me wearing it rather than slowly embodying it. Just for reference's sake, I'll pull it out. So, so there were the footprints that also came out of here that I wanted to lay out on the second one as well, because that was one thing that I was kind of losing by putting the figure facing inward. And so what I did is painted the footsteps all the way around the mandala to kind of connect all the figures together. And this figure here is my dream for kind of what I see in my art therapy practice is opening a studio that I call the Flame of Hope. And so this figure is doing the American Sign Language sign for hope, which is just bringing the hands up and kind of tapping the fingers like so. And the reason why I chose those two figures facing inward is to focus on the light in the center. And to remember that divinity and that connection to the unity that we all share, but being connected in that, whatever you want to define it as being children of God, or, collective unconscious, or we're all made of the cosmos stuff. And I think that's a really beautiful concept, that we're all made of the same stuff that stars are made out of. That's incredible for me to understand that. And so this blue starry section is kind of the opposite to this red piece, that it's reaching downward toward that upward striving. And so there is, because I feel in my life there is absolutely a divine presence that is opening the way for this, for my dream to become possible. And then I included the humble person that I did in the mandalas as well, because I felt that was a significant figure too. And then this last one is represents and symbolizes my dream of the flame of hope. So I tried to make it look all fiery and very dynamic, and I've spent way too much time imagining what the flame of hope looks like, that I'm like, I just want it to be already. Because I want it to be really the center where people's experiences, feelings, and emotions are honored, and a place where true healing can happen if a person chooses to heal through art therapy. And the interesting thing with this one, I worked on this last, is that I was trying to also incorporate the whole dyad, and I'm like, oh, it's going to be like this, and I'm going to put this together and incorporate that concept, and I started getting intellectual about it. And so, like, this section right here took me forever to do. But once I started letting go, I'm like, I'm going to be up till, like, forever, 5 a.m, finishing this last one, if I so, like, try to contain the idea so hard. But once I started letting go, it really flowed freely and very wonderfully in the way that I felt it within my body. And there have been meditations that I've been doing throughout the week to help me with this. It's actually one that Oprah and Deepak Chopra are like kind of collaborating together to do, and it's like this 21-day meditation challenge, and I'm like, oh, perfect, this will fit in right in with the end of the quarter, because it started on the 5th of August, and there's like a little 15-minute dilly that you do every day, and this particular series is about honoring the divine and honoring the spiritual self. And they're like, find love where you least expect it. And I'm like, oh, they're totally making you love yourself. That's what this is all about. But it's not like it's not like the goal of it is making you love yourself, but really connecting to those divine parts that connect you to everybody else. So creating a magnificent relationship with yourself, which really fits into the whole Mandala process in that empathic relationship that Besa had already reconnected us to, and really honoring oneself and taking care of oneself before reaching out and taking care of other people and finding fantastic relationships with other people, be it a really good friendship or a really in-depth, intimate relationship. And so every time I would kind of get stuck in the painting process, I would go do a meditation. I'm like, okay, I can take 15 minutes and just kind of sit back and not worry about anything else for a few minutes and just contemplate the vastness of who we all are. And that really facilitated the creating of these pieces. And I feel like that's an appropriate place to finish. So, yeah.
The one thing that occurs to me, just observing the essentially three mandalas that you made they're three but one, you know?
Yeah.
There's kind of an
inherent
yeah, there's like an inherent paradox in this, but the small globe I don't believe it has any human figures, right? It's all objects, you know, in different configurations. And then the large one does have mostly human figures or human-related images.
Yeah.
And it feels to me that the central one is the synthesis, you know, so we move from object to human, really to element, you know, the element of fire, you know, which is unbelievably powerful, and, you know, in some senses is the spark of life itself. So, you know, so I don't know what else to say about that, except that, you know, that this really does feel like a dialectic in motion, you know, moving from objects to people to a synthesis, you know, that which connects. And the fact that it also represents the vision that you have, you know, for your practice, it's just, I think it's a beautiful way of representing what you envision yourself doing.
Thanks. Yeah, I felt strongly that definitely the large one communicated my essence of being.
Yes.
And this one kind of communicated what it is that I like to do.
Yeah.
And this one is my dream that really interweaves. So I appreciate that you saw that.
Thank you very much, Adrian.
You're welcome.